Nigeria Meteorological Agency has warned that the mining will have a bit break as it concerns the raining season in Nigeria, but we should be rest assured that in a couple of weeks' time, the rains will still be heavy. But the question still remains, how prepared are we as a people in ensuring that we do not go through the pains that we experienced early this year when we lost about 200 Nigerians, and that's a very sad one in Niger State. Well, that will take center stage on the show today. I really want to welcome you. It's Viewpoint and on the Atlantic, and my name is Michael Gobadia. And you do know, Viewpoint, we give you in-depth analysis of issues that are happening in the country, and all we always enjoy doing is welcoming you and making sure your morning is a great one. But it's still great celebration going on. You do know, today is day 4 of the coronation anniversary of His Royal Majesty. And we're talking of Ugame Atueshi III, CFR. And you know, the excitement is still in the air.
Yes, talking about excitement. Today is the 4th day of the coronation anniversary, which is the main anniversary day, the main anniversary celebration and homage paying. And today, you know, there's this long-standing tradition of the prince and princesses waking up the Olu of Warri, that is the Oton Olus. So they wake up the Olu of Warri to prepare, like to start the day, to prepare him for the start of the festivities for the day. So I will tell you, today is a superb one, and you don't want to miss any of it, as it will entail all the homage paying, and Atlantic Media and TV will be covering everything live. You don't want to miss it, so you have to stay tuned on Atlantic Media and TV. I am Mercy Erabo. We'll be right back for the dailies. Don't go anywhere.
Congratulations, you're in the glory of God. Congratulations, He has done it for you. And you will come back with a new song to sing. God is good. Yes, you will come again with a new song of praise. God is good. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes, it's the dailies right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. And for review today, we have 6 papers. We have The Punch, The Vanguard, The Guardian, and definitely The Nation is here. Also, we'll be having a leadership as a major one. And funny enough, this day is making a return. I'll be looking at it also on the dailies today. But you do know we always enjoy starting with The Punch, and let's see what seems to be a puncher on the front page of The Punch. Wike Makinde Reef threatens high-stake PDP convention. Like I said, it's indeed a puncher. And we're talking about the 2027 showdown. Just a rider to that says the PDP vows tough action as Wike associate move against convention. NEC members kick. But don't kick that story away, but I implore you to read it on page 2 of The Punch. Let's see if we take other leading stories, especially at the top mass of The Punch newspaper. PFAs channel 62% of workers' pension into government bonds. Wow. It's a major one on page 29. Recapitalization, banks to gain extra 900 billion naira. Capital in 2025 is a story screaming on page 31. And Castina mocks terror attack, death tolls, he is 32. A very disturbing and sad story on page 42 of the Punch newspaper. Royal Roar, Alafi may publish Supreme Court ruling after 48 hours ultimatum is a major one on page 43. But let's see if we take some other major leading stories just beneath the top mass right there on the Punch newspaper. And we seems to have a lot of screamers right there. And that one is MBA reports. Adeleke demands federal government unlock Oshun's allocation. And page 10 has that story. 179 ASPs disqualified as police promote 952 officers. It's a screaming story on page 10. Olubadan coronation for September 26 as Makinde visits Ladoja. Well, anyway, you still remember Ladoja was a governor. But anyway, page 16 has more of that story. The picture of the day and that you can also find on page 41 of the Punch newspaper is the TCAD's 9. Japanese PM pledges $5.5 billion support for Nigeria and others. And you can also see dignitaries all right there in Japan. Well, anyway, that's how much we can take from the Punch newspaper.
All right, let's go to The Guardian. The major headline here says road tax scheme stalls after delivering 2.6 trillion naira projects. You can read that on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. And to the top mass, opposition parties report proposed pay rise for political office holders, aides. You can see that on page 3, and that's a debatable topic, though. You can see that on page 3 of The Guardian newspaper. And still on the top mass, 15% of teen girls are pregnant. Mothers, ministers lament. Well, you can see that on page 2 of The Guardian newspaper. 7,000 Nigerians stranded in Libya. Nigeria in Diasporal Commission reveals. That is on page 3 of The Guardian newspaper. Let's see if we have more top stories. And to the bottom mass of The Guardian newspaper, TCAD 9 on Mad Booth. Presidency downplays outrage as Tinubu demands United Nations reform. That's on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. Senegal ends the Tigers' Afrobasket dream. Well, that's on page 2 of The Guardian newspapers. We still have more here. Manufacturers are raw material stock at airports for weeks. Losses anticipated. That's a sad one, though. You can see that on page 26 of The Guardian newspaper. Oyo government sets Ladoja's coronation for September 26th, and that's on page 5 of The Guardian newspaper. The last one here says study shows 4.3 million premature deaths yearly from unclean cooking fuel. That's a sad story. It's on page 4 of The Guardian newspaper. And here we have the graph of the day showing the Nigerians' road tax credit scheme. And that's all we'll be taking on The Guardian today. Let's quickly go to The Nations. The major headline here says Nigeria projects $1 billion in trade investments from Japan summit. And that's on page 4 of The Nation newspaper. Tinubu vows to tackle underlying causes of terror. That's the rider to the story. To the top mass, Ladoja's coronation as 44th Olubadan fixed for September 26th. And that's on page 5 of The Nation newspaper. Repair of Rivers Assembly Complex nears completion. That's on page 3 of The Nation newspaper. And let's see if we have more to take. And to the side mass, it says 13 million social media accounts shut down. Well, I think this topic will be coming up on Trending today, so you don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Well, you can continue reading that on page 3 of The Nation newspaper. And to the down part of the nation, you can see why I donated 540 seats auditorium to Lagos State University by Tunji Bello. You can see that on page 17 of the Nation newspaper. And for a picture of the day, you can see His Excellency the President of Nigeria, President Tinubu, and the TICAD 9, pressing for peace and security in the country. And that's all we'll be taking on the Nations today.
Well, the Vanguard will be the next paper for us to quickly look at. And on the Vanguard, anger over planned pay rise for political office holder is a major one on page 5. And remember, we looked at these yesterday on the dialogue on Atlantic TV on the Viewpoint. And well, anyway, more persons are still giving out their reaction. But anyway, get more on page 5. Let's see if we take some other leading story at the top mass. Federal government raised GDP target to 5% ahead of IMF projection. And NCC to governors waive or reduce 145 raw fees is a major one on page 48 of the Vanguard. Castina massacre, death toll rises to 50 is a disturbing story on page 6. And assault on NYSC member Solodo sags a vigilante operative. And I would say that's in the right order. But anyway, page 7 of the Vanguard seems to have that story. Let's see if we take some other leading story just beneath the picture of the day and see if there are more to take. And right there, Rep summon 11 discos over 2.6 trillion debt owed federal government. It's on page 8. 2027 Tinubu re-election done deal. I did not say so, but Tunji Ojo seems to be saying that on page 8. Nigerian campaign for UN seat council, or rather, Nigeria campaigns for UN Security Council seat at TICAD. And you know President Tinubu will always have his voice, and it's on page 9. But the picture of the day is that of day 3 of the coronation anniversary, and you can see His Royal Majesty Ogiame Atuashe III, and well, it's a beautiful one there. But anyway, that's the much we can take from the Vanguard.
All right, let's go to leadership. And the major story here says federal government house and estates rots away in Nasarawa 4 years after inauguration. That's on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And that's also the picture of the day. So let's see if we have more here. So at the top mass, it says our people can no longer live in villages over relentless attacks. Yeah. Castina lawmaker. Well, that's on page 6 of the leadership newspaper. Tinubu demands United Nations reform as Japan pledges 5.5 billion dollars for Africa. And that's on page 4 of the leadership newspaper. Let's see if we have more. I can see Penn Gassan, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, flays use of oil workers for hazardous jobs. Government vows sanctions. Well, that's on page 2 of the leadership newspaper. Let's see, let's go to the side mass. Emerson absent as the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and the aviation security meets the aviation security cabin crew today. That's on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. Let's see if we have more. Ogun APC suspends Senator Daniel over alleged anti-party activities. That's on page 25 of the leadership newspaper. Federal government closes 13.5 million social media accounts, removes 58.9 million offensive content. Like I said before, we'll be discussing this on Trending today. You don't want to miss that. Well, that's on page 7 of the leadership newspaper. Let's see if we have more. Abuja Metro records 4 million passengers in first year. That's on page 29 of the leadership newspaper. The picture of the day, obviously, is the federal government's housing estates rotting away in Nasarawa 4 years after inauguration. Well, that's all we'll be taking on the leadership newspaper today.
Well, this day will be the last paper for us to look at this day. And the leading story on this day. In Japan, Tinubu salutes Nigerian military momentum against insecurity. And I'll just, because of time, I'll be taking just one right after that. Says successes of armed forces will spur national development and stability. Well, stabilize more of that story on this day. And I'm quite sure page 20, or rather 32, seems to have more of that story. Let's quickly see if we take some other leading stories on the top mass. Makinde approves Ladoja as the 44th Oluibadan installation holds September 26. It's a screamer on page 32. NAMA begins comprehensive audit of Nigerian airspace. And that page 33 has more of that story. But let's go to the top mass there. REA, Delta partner on off-grid power and plan to raise state GDP by $2.9 billion. And honestly, if that happens, it's going to be a major plus for the Delta State government. And page 32 seems to have that story. Yeah, because of time, I doubt if we can take, okay, yes. NCC, Governors Forge Partnership to boost Nigerian digital economy. It's a screamer on page 5. But the picture of the day is more of that donation done by no other but Tunji Bello as he donates 540-seater auditorium to the Lagos State University. And you can see the governor there, the deputy, and other dignitaries as they salute the beautiful feat of Tunji Bello with that very donation. But that's the much you can take from the papers. And all we have today as it concerns the dailies. And well, because of time, we might not really have to discuss much on it because we're really out of time on this. And let's see if we just go on a quick break. And when we come back, the dialogue will be next, right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV. In the glorious land of Warri Kingdom, history meets heritage and tradition embraces transformation. Join us in celebrating the 4th coronation anniversary of His Majesty Ogiame Atuashe III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, from Monday 18th of August to Sunday 24th of August 2025. Day 1 kicks off with praise and worship at the Palace Church, Agofen, Warri by 12 noon. Day 2 features hospital commissioning at Ubangwe, Warri, 10 a.m. Ishekiri language competition for children at Agofen, Warri, 12 noon. Women's football match, 4 p.m. All-Stars football match at the Palace Field, 4:30 p.m. Day 3, a royal boat ride to Ode Ishekiri, 10 a.m. Homage paying at Big Warri Palace, 12 noon. His Majesty departs Big Warri, 3 p.m. Day 4, the anniversary celebration and homage paying at Agofen, Warri by 11 a.m. Day 5 brings book launch, 10:30 a.m. More homage paying at Agofen, 11:30 a.m. Drama presentations at Agofen, Warri, 4:30 p.m. Day 6 features the Royal Order of Iwere Awards, 10 a.m. Special lecture at Agofen, 11 a.m. Youth activities, 12:30 p.m. Royal Choir performance, 5 p.m. Day 7, the celebration concludes with a heartfelt Thanksgiving service at 10 a.m. at the Palace Church, Agofen, Warri. Join us as we honor 4 impactful years of visionary leadership. Brought to you by Uge Oyo Ekoro TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Nigerian cholera crisis is deepening as flooding and other factors spread the deadly disease to 34 states, killing about 86 people and infecting over 3,000 in June, with 80,000 children at risk and water price soaring. Millions are forced to drink contaminated water, leading to a vicious circle of poverty and preventable death. At least 15 million Nigerians face high flooding risks as the country enters its most dangerous weather period. Nigerian rainy season typically spans from April to October, with August marking the wettest and most hazardous month. The devastating link between flooding and disease outbreak had been repeatedly demonstrated. In the northeastern states of Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe alone, a total of 7,485 cases of cholera and 319 associated deaths were reported, as this alone has seen already a big problem in the month of August 2025. This year flooding has already claimed hundreds of lives across multiple states. In May, catastrophic flooding in Mukwa, Niger State, killed over 150 people and displaced thousands. Rivers State recorded at least 25 deaths following landslide and flash floods in Okrika, while severe weather and flooding has battled Ogun and Gombe states. The crisis has spread nationwide, affecting Anambra, Delta, Lagos, Plateau, Taraba, Zamfara, Bauchi, Katsina, Kano, and Kebbi states, creating a perfect storm for more disease transmission across Nigeria, flood most vulnerable communities. Compounding the health emergency, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has issued impact-based weather forecasts warning of heightened flooding and flash flood risks across several states, creating a need for us to talk about it today on Dialogue. And that is, we're talking about flood crisis and Nigerian lack of preparedness. That's what we're having as a major discourse today on the show. We're looking at that a recent prediction coming from no other but NIMET, saying that we should get prepared. Undermining we're having a break at the moment. It's still going to be a very wet month ahead. But anyway, we're right here in the studio trying to look at it, and I'm being joined right here. You do know on a Dialogue, we always have guests. Could be 1, 2, or 3. We could even join anyone, anywhere in the world for us to dialogue on major issues confronting us as a people. And today is no different. Joining us all the way live from Abuja, we have a lovely guest, and I'm talking of no other person, but he's Executive Director of the Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, and I'm talking about Dr. Fineface Dunamini Fineface. He's joining us all the way live from Abuja. Dr. Fineface, I guess you can hear us. Welcome to Dialogue on Atlantic TV, is Viewpoint. I hope you can hear us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. I can hear you. Good morning to you.
Well, thank you so much for staying put with us. We know how busy you are, especially as that conference will kickstart to deal with the issue of flooding in Abuja. But also joining us in the studio is no other but the chairman, Nigerian Environmental Society Delta State Chapter, and I'm talking of no other person but Dr. Victor Sonji. Dr. Victor, thank you also for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mike. Good to see you again.
Well, thank you so much. It's also nice to see you. But I'll just quickly want to start with you, Dr. Fineface Dunamini Fineface. Now, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has once again issued another fresh warning and indicating that, well, it's not going to be a dry one for us in the coming months ahead. It's going to be pretty wet. And we already know that we've lost about 300 persons on account of the flash floods that happened in various parts of the country in recent time. But that's not where my question lies. I know we are still being faced, about 15 million Nigerians will be faced with high flooding risks as the country enters another major one. So my question is, how really serious are we as a people And the reason I'm asking this is I'm not just looking at the government part. How really serious are we as a people as it concerns this recent prediction coming from NIMED? Because if you look at the Western world, in any time we have such or they hear such prediction, they take it as a personal thing to see to do the needful. So my question, how really serious is this very prediction coming from NIMED?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I think the prediction is very serious because they are the professional agency responsible for, predicting rainfall, and their predictions have been coming out to work and to reality. And in as much as we continue to have predictions coming in and the reality of such predictions, it is incumbent on the state government, the local government, and other stakeholders to call the attention of the people to this and work out modalities on how to ensuring that we have a better preparation of the people for the impact of the flooding, not to impact the people. But in this situation, you hardly see a situation whereby government takes this very seriously, especially at the state and local government level. The result of that, we usually have very high impact on the flooding on the people. You can see the statistics are real out, the impact of this in Yobe State and Adamawa State, and then of course in Borno State, and then even in Liberty where we come from. So Mwakwa is still fresh in our memory, and we know the impact of all of it. So whenever we have prediction of this nature, it will have been incumbent on the authorities, especially those at the state level, to ensuring that they take the information down to the people, they prepare the people, and even create emergency funds to tackle the issue of flooding and impact of such disaster on the people. But that is not being done. Every year we start afresh to see how to prepare the people, and that is not helping us. Okay. In other climes, with prediction of this nature, governments immediately spring into action through the various agencies that they have set up to handle this. Like in River State, I must commend
Dr. Fineface, sorry to cut you short there, Dr. Fineface, because I was almost going there, and that's where my next question lies. Because if you look at it, NIMED gave us this warning as early as February this year, and we're having a whole lot of deaths on account of flash flood. So my question, is it that the government of the day at all levels, we're talking about both the local, state, and federal level, did not take this warning seriously, hence we had to witness the huge loss of life, especially that of Niger State, when we had about 150 people die in one day on account of this flash flood. So were government at all levels not really taking these warnings really serious?
I think they are not taking it very seriously. The moment the government agency at the federal level brings out this prediction and the prediction information is put out there, other government agencies responsible do not pick up this information to work on it to ensure that the integrated. Now we have the National Orientation Agency. They are supposed to play a role here. But the agency that has been spearheading all of these rules, whenever this prediction comes out, are always in the National Emergency Management Agency. And they can't do this alone. They need other partners to be able to do this. So the National Orientation Agency is supposed to leverage the relationship they have with NEMA, and then work with the state government and their various agencies to address this issue. I wanted to mention the fact that in River State today, they have started talking about creation of the River State Emergency Management Agency because of the flooding and the impact, and for them to really work out modalities to ensure that the impact on the people is mitigated.
Yes. Okay, well, Dr. Fineface, Dominic Fineface, I'm happy you talked about River State. And in River State, we had about 25 deaths in Okrika when we had that landslide. And my next question will not just be centered on River State. It's now having a different phase in the issue of flooding cut across the country. We used to know that most flooding affects the southern states, other states in the coastal region. But now we're having a change. In the north alone, we're having more flash floods in the north than it used to be. Like I said, 150 people died in Mukwa in Niger State. So my question, Why are we not having it the way it used to be? Why are we not having more flash floods in the north rather than in the south? What seems to be happening?
I think it's because of climate change. It's as a result of climate change. That is to say that climate change is a reality that we should not overlook. Now, the north, we normally see it as a place where you have reduced and minimal rainfall. But now you are having more rainfall here, like throughout this day in Abuja. It rains. And today the weather is not also smiling. So the climate change that we now have with us as a result of both human and natural activities, they are contributing to what we are currently having. It is also because of the multiple times of the incessant rainfall we are experiencing. We also do have, reports of by fishermen and those traveling on the waterways. In Sokoto, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, many people died, and a lot of them that we are still missing, they can't recover them.
Yeah.
So all of these are as a result of climate change that we are having, because we normally have more dry season in the north compared to the south. But now the reverse is beginning to become the case. So we ought to have a situation whereby we don't just look at the impact of these predictions, but also work modalities to mitigate the impact of climate change on the people and the environment. Because since we cannot stop it, we can do certain things that will mitigate the impact of the climate change and also reduce some of our activities that contribute to climate change. Fossil fuel is a major source of methane and other chemicals that contribute to climate change. But I believe that Nigeria today is still far away from moving away from fossil fuel to renewable energy in full, even if the efforts are already being put in place. But then if you look at what Nigeria is doing and what other countries are doing, you see that other countries are emitting even more than Nigeria, that is put about 3%. But I think that we need to collectively address this issue, because if we are contributing 3% to the climate change index and we are having this kind of impact on us, what happens when it increases to like 10, 20, 25%? So it's going to be more devastating. We are now seeing all of this around us, and we need to begin to work modalities to mitigate the impact of climate change and this flooding on our people, because the number of deaths that we are recording each time we have some of this rainfall and flooding is becoming unbearable. We can't just be losing people in this our number when we can tinker out ways of mitigating the problem and being able to solve it, or at least reduce it to the barest minimum.
Thank you for that. And I know you soon need to go on that conference on the issue of climate change, and that's why you're there in Abuja. But before I let you go, you brought up a topic of having some major countries also trying to see how they can solve the problem, undermining they seem to be the ones creating it. Now, I could still remember in November of 2024, we've now had rich countries that seem to also cause the green gas emission more in the world. We also recently learned in May of 2024, rather November of 2024, that they've started paying poor countries on account of the problem and the impact flooding is having on them, occasioned by greenhouse gas emission. But my question, now I know you work strongly with the United Nations and also other government agencies as it concerns flooding and environmental problem in Nigeria. My question is there any major partnership between international donors or international or countries in the West as it concerns those flooding that is affecting us and the impact it has had on us? Do you know of any collaboration? Could be in finance, could be in training, it could be in any other means that these countries are giving to Nigeria to help deal with this flooding situation we're going through?
Yeah, I think international partners are trying in their own way to form governmental organizations and governments in Nigeria and other third world countries to fight and mitigate the impact of climate change. They are trying in that direction, but I think they need to do more. Even foreign nations in Nigeria are also trying to support efforts to combat climate change. You also remember and recall that every year, around November, December, there is always the conference of the parties where people gather to discuss the issue of climate change with a view of finding solutions to it. So I think the United Nations and other donor agencies and organizations are trying, and they need to redouble their efforts to see how they can help poor and E9 countries to mitigate the impact of climate change. Beyond the rhetorics of discussions and literature, each time we gather, today's year we are going to have a conference of the parties, number 30 in Brazil. Nigeria and other countries of the world are going to gather as well. So those conferences should be used to discuss the issue of funding and partnering with third world countries like Nigeria as well to see how they can mitigate the impacts of climate change by finding real solution to the problem, because some of the solutions we have seen so far are not really working, like the reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation, REDD+, as one of the climate change mitigation mechanisms that has been put forward, is been seen of not being very viable, because it preaches a situation whereby countries that are emitting this carbon dioxide that contributes to climate change will continue to pollute, and then they come to third world countries like Nigeria to buy forests and then allow the forest to stand because they absorb carbon dioxide. Some of these things are not really helping us anymore. We really need to see how we can cut emission at source with a view of reducing the contribution we are making on the index to climate change issues. Funding is very fundamental for us to do all of this. The world today is transitioning from fossil fuel to clean and renewable energy. Nigeria is in that part as well. If that is properly funded for Nigeria, Nigeria will see reason why they can even leave the oil in the soil and then begin to embrace renewable energy, because the Stone Age did not end because there were no stones anymore. Also, we stopped mining coal in Enugu. It doesn't mean that coal finished in Enugu, but it was because we have to move to fossil fuel, which is where we are today. So at some point, we have to also leave the fossil fuel, the crude oil in the soil, and then focus on renewable energy, which we have whatever it takes. Talk about sun, talk about water, thermal energy, and all of that. We have them. So we need to look at this issue holistically, provide enough funding to fund initiatives that will make us to mitigate the impact of climate change on our people here at home.
Thank you so much. And I'm talking of another person, Dr. Fineface Dunamini Fineface is joining us all the way live from Abuja. He's presently having a conference that will deal with the issue of climate change and also the issue of flooding that is really impacting negatively in some major parts of the country. Thank you so much for joining us. And I wish you a successful conference as you people try to forge ahead to deal with the issues that seems to be bedeviling.
Thank you for having me on the program.
Concerns flooding in some major parts of the country. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you a successful conference. Well, anyway, thank you so much. Well, anyway, we're still back here, right here in the studio. And remember, I also told you, we're also having in-house guests, and I'm talking about the state chairman of the Nigerian Environmental Society, the Delta State chapter, and I'm talking about Dr. Victor Soji. Now, you heard all he said, but I want us to also redirect our discussion as we really kickstart. And I want us to look at some of the major issues. Yeah, he spoke extensively about how climate change has really impacted negatively. But let's come home. Let's come back to our own setting.
Where we belong.
Yes, where we really belong. And also look at some of those major issues or some of those major human activity that predisposes us to most of this flooding.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Mike. Good to see you again.
Well, thank you. Also nice to have you join us.
Yes, and have a robust conversation on issues that border on the environment.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Let me appreciate your media house for giving us this platform.
Well, thank you so much.
For continued environmental sustainability sensitization. Recall I once said that we will always have flooding, whether NIMET predicts or not, because the issues that exposes us to flooding lives with us. And unfortunately, it is not because Nigeria, by way of geographical location or environmental factors, are ordinarily supposed to be high-risk countries, or Delta State is supposed to be a high-risk state for flooding. Let me give you an instance.
Okay.
With a perimeter of around 4,900 kilometers. Nigeria just has 853 kilometers exposed to the Atlantic Ocean. That's annexing the Atlantic Ocean.
So we're pretty close to it.
Yes, just 853 kilometers. Before you think that's a very huge figure, this is unlike our, in quotes, beloved country that most of us want to immigrate to, Canada. Canada is 243,000 kilometers
away,
exposed
to
the Atlantic Ocean. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Now, when you compare the impact in Canada and compare
that of Nigeria,
you begin to see that a lot of our issues fall or rest solely on human activities.
Okay.
So I would say that flooding in Nigeria is principally man-made. not because we are geographically
Positioned to have it.
constrained
Yeah,
or positioned to have flooding. You mentioned about recent cases of flooding in up north,
Mukwa,
which is
in Niger State.
Yes, Niger State, which is the flash flood. By the way, we have 3 types of flood. You have the flash flood or the pluvial flood. You have the fluvial flood, which is the river flood. Then the storm surge, which comes from by virtue of your proximity to the Atlantic Ocean. Flash flood comes from consistent rainfall for a period of about 6 hours.
Okay.
Then you experience flash flood. Then you have both difficulty in percolation because now precipitation is higher. Precipitation here, let me bring it out to simple terms. Rainfall is higher, and the ability for the soil to absorb or drain this water becomes reduced, becomes a problem. Now, with human activities, with the level of or quantum of development that we experience, with the rapid urbanization of our rural communities, we expose our environment to less speculation and higher precipitation. That is, more rainfall comes and very few is drained.
Wow.
So you have naturally you have water retained. So that is what you experience in both northern and the southern halves of Nigeria. So that is why flash flood will continue to increase. Why we in Delta State? Let me come home now. Why we Delta State? We experience both the flash flood, the river flood, and the storm surge. Obviously, because we are a coastal state. Those in the north, we experience bulk of the flash flood and the river flood. That's the pluvial and the fluvial kinds of flooding, because the river flood has to do where maybe an existing water body overflows in banks. So we in Delta State, we have this increase in rainfall, of course, induced by climate change, and climate change, you also know, is an artificial occurrence. Is artificially induced because human activities interfere with the behavioral pattern of the climate. So I witnessed firsthand flash flood in Asaba sometime last month, and it was not a very lovely sight to behold. I just wish the stakeholders and citizens will look deeply into these concerns that we have as a society.
Okay, as much as you saw that concern, I feel we need to go on a break now. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at the recent prediction, especially coming from the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, warning that the second half of the year, especially the remaining 2 months as it concerns the rainy season, will be having a whole lot of rainfalls, and most certainly we might really experience flooding in some parts of the country. So let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we also try to make sense on what the government needs to do to indeed avert more deaths occasioned by flooding in Nigeria. Let's go on a break.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Well, I need to welcome you back, and you're still right here on Atlantic TV. It's Viewpoint and it's Dialogue. And indeed, we're talking about a major that seems to be rearing its ugly head. And we're talking about flooding itself, especially with the prediction coming from the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, saying that in the 2 months' time, we're going to witness a wet weather. But anyway, it's not wet here, but cool. And we're trying to discuss about it and see if we can really forge a way forward. I still remain Michael Gobadia. But still remember, that's what we're having. We're talking about the flooding crisis and how really prepared is the nation as it concerns that prediction coming from NIMET. But anyway, he's still with us right here. I'm talking of the chairman of the Nigerian Meteorological Society, Environmental Society, Delta State chapter. I'm talking of Dr. Victor Sonji. Now, let's return to the discussion. Before we went on the break, you talked about some of the human factor that predisposes us, and you gave us a breakdown of the different kind of flood we seem to have. But I want us to still remain home because, well, they do say charity begins at home. And if issues of flooding happen, it stares us in the face right here in our home state of Delta State. Now, I also do know that in recent time, the Delta State government, through the Ministry of Environment and that of the SOPADEC, went around clearing structures that blocked waterways or water channels. And they've done that, they did that 2 months back, even 3 months back before we had heavy rainfall. But just last week here, the Delta State government still came out to say that more channels have been blocked. More persons are still building on waterways. So my question now is, why have we not been able to get it right? How come we're still having more persons not seeing the danger of building structures on waterways? What do we need to do to ensure that this comes to an end? Because all the factors, one of the major factors you talked about is the issue of having these water channels being blocked. So what does the government need to do, or what do we need to do to ensure that that comes to an end? And how serious is this issue of structures on waterways and how it impacts on flooding?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mike. Let me commend the Delta State government. In fact, His Excellency scored a landmark point in taking an audacious step at clearing waterways, demolition of obstructive structures, and restoration of water channels. It was, to me, a very welcome development. But in fairness to the government, that won't be all we should expect from society for us to prevent or avert flooding. We citizens, we have a responsibility, and that is where organizations like us come in, by sensitizing people on what to do. You don't leave or bequeath all your responsibilities to the government. Much as you bequeath most of them, you expect the government to do a lot of all of this, a lot of these clearing of drainages and all of that. But you as a citizen, you're supposed to know that the drainages by the highway or by our road or by our critical infrastructure are not refuse dumps. All right? You should avoid disposing your refuse in the canals, in our waterways. Then you talk about obstructive structures. I really wonder how people get comfortable knowing that they're investing. I'll take this from an economist point of view. I really wonder how you get comfortable knowing that you are investing substantial amounts. It will take you about between 150 to 300, or some case $500 million, to have a very impressive structure along a swamp or along a waterway. So I wonder how you feel comfortable developing or sinking such money or such funds where it is already by default exposed to threats.
Yes, itself.
I really wonder the source of confidence, and I pray I have such courage. I pray I have such courage. But when you know that, because when you know that this investment, money is difficult to come by anywhere you go on earth. When you know that you have such investment, except maybe you make this money through some dishonest means and it's always available. When you know that this fund that I'm sinking in this car, I saw one property by Soko Estate or so some time ago. The property was already splitting into two. This is a property resting right on top of a canal, a waterway. And I wonder, how did you even accept to buy? Were you blindfolded to buy this property here? So citizens themselves should be, you don't cheat nature. You don't cheat the environment. The environment will always take its payment or its refund from you at any time. It might take time, but it will come back later. So people should try as much as they can to avoid falling into those temptations. There are lands everywhere. The statistics say we have about, we have developed less than 50% of our spaces. So if you have developed less than 50%, you have the other places to go to. So please, citizens should avoid developing on places where they will be exposed to the threats and risk of or cause us even environmental hazards and damage to their properties and their investments. And at that, you don't really hold the government liable. So if the government comes with the bulldozers or the excavators to pull down your property, you don't cry witch hunt. Okay? You should have had what we call an impact assessment on your property before you go ahead to develop on that area. And this is where I also seek the government to continue to play its oversight and regulatory functions on the environment, on the society. While we commend them for taking that initiative, it shouldn't be a one-off thing. I will call on them to continue to do this until it becomes imbibed in us. Human beings are naturally obstinate. We are resistant, or inadvertently resistant to change and adherence or compliance. So this is where the government comes in. They should consistently and constantly, as a matter of policy, make sure that obstructive elements are brought down. While that happens, we as an association will continue to tell the people, this is what you are supposed to do, and this is what you are not supposed to do. And these are the impacts
of such.
Then if you look at Delta State, over the last 10 years, we have experienced a populational boom. Particularly in the state capital. It has become very attractive to a couple of businessmen known as real estate developers. Over time, I think it was last month or early this month that the Lagos state government revoked or threatened to revoke 176 properties for failing to comply with local town planning laws. So Delta state government should also heighten its regulatory position on regulating the activities of property development within the state, so that we do not develop the state and at the same time make it a threat to ourselves and as well as our children and our children's children.
Okay, well, anyway, nice one there, because I was almost coming back to the issue of what government should do. Now, we've just had this prediction coming from NIMED that in the next 2 months, September and October to be precise, we'll be having a very huge amount of rainfall. And that prediction is already there. We also do know that the National Emergency Management Agency said about 140,266 Nigerians were affected in just this past few months as it concerns the flood. But my next question, there's little or no time to deal with this prediction as it stands. What advice would you have for government at every level to do, especially as it concerns Delta State? Because I'm a bit really concerned about Delta State. If you take your mind back to 2022, to be precise.
And 2012.
And 2012. We had one of the most devastating flooding ever, where we had almost major local government underwater in this very state. So A quick prediction. What should the government do as it concerns this recent prediction? I'm talking about government at both the local and state level. Let's come back home. A quick one.
Okay, if you want models for responses to flooding events or calamities or crisis in Nigeria, you look at 2012 and you look at 2022, a 10-year span. Those are the two major flooding events that we had, and both of them were linked to the surge from Lagdo Dam from our neighboring country. This year, the government said that Lagdo Dam, as of July, has not been open. So let us presume that it will not be open. So it will not have such disasters as we had in those two scenarios, 2012 and 2022. If you look at what government, if you want government to, if you want me to talk about what governments at different levels need to do.
As a quick one.
You will look at local government, for instance, waste management, waste disposal. The Commissioner for Environment has tried and has consistently tried to enforce and ensure proper waste management, particularly in Sapele. I will advise him to, and Asaba, I will advise him to bring that down and bring strong enforcement to the other urbanized parts of Delta State. Then look at the state government. They should continue to enforce or play their regulatory roles on property development. Like I said, until you manage human settlement, you can't manage other components of environmental sustainability, because most of the things that affect environmental sustainability as a result of activities of man. Man will always find a way, man will always be drawn to the three basic needs. And shelter is one of them. So once human settlement is properly managed, once you begin to have policies around waste management, you have policies around property development, strong policies, not just enact for entertainment, but you enact for enforcement. Once you begin to have strong policies around these areas, then you know citizens will queue up behind you. Like I said earlier, citizens, human beings generally are obstinate. Even me, myself. You too, Mr. Mike.
Well, I don't. Anyway, don't mind me. Let's leave me out of it.
Okay, for you, Mr. Mike. Human beings are naturally obstinate until a time where government, and again, must build confidence and make us know that these things are in the best interest of citizens and society. People will begin.
But do you feel the government is doing enough as it concerns sensitization?
I will say the government does not really have so much responsibility on sensitization. They have more on enforcement. Civil societies, CBOs, NGOs, including religious organizations and traditional institutions, have more primary responsibilities on sensitization. That is why the Nigerian Environmental Society, this is about, in a space of 3 months or so, this is about the 5th media appearance I'm having. That is why the Nigerian Environmental Society Delta State chapter is high on sensitization. We go about, I was involved in road work, we were involved in plastic cleanup during the last World Environment Day. We are visiting many places, telling them on the implications of these activities. So civil societies, and I call on all other organizations, and including media houses like yours that is giving us this platform, you are contributing to the sensitization, while government should be tough or high on enforcement. When government begins to enforce to the point that people have confidence that these things are not withdrawn. When the I think special advisor or special director on Mr. Omare began the massive audacious removal of obstructive elements on both Warri and Asaba. The top guns, the top political players in the state were affected. A lot of properties, in fact, I heard that at some point they said it was witch hunt when it started from the lower class. When people saw that influential persons have their properties knocked down, and the governor stood his feet on the ground and said, okay, you obstructed waterways. Would you rather that we all die than we just sacrifice your property? So when government goes tough on enforcement, particularly on our waterways, we are a peculiar state. Like I said, I just listed that Delta is exposed to the three classes or kinds of floods. And with all this one comes a lot of negative effects. You have epidemic, you have ecological disasters, you have poor agricultural yield, you have ecological disruptions. So we as a state must be very intentional on attacking or reducing activities that predisposes us to flooding and its effects.
Well, anyway, time is not a friend. I would have loved to really continue this discussion and have more as it concerns what needs to be done, especially with that very prediction coming from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency that we're going to have really more rains to fall in the next 26 days, especially 26 days in the month of September. We're going to have about 186.6 millimeter of rainfall within that period. And it's really a big one if you go by calculation of rainfall. But anyway, what does the government need to do? What do we need to do? All of that took center stage on the show today on Dialogue. And on that note, I need to really thank you so much. And I'm talking of no other person but the chairman, Nigeria Environmental Society. I got that right. The Augustin chapter. I'm talking about Dr. Victor Sonji for really taking your time and doing this with us. We would really love to have you occasionally, as we also do our own civic responsibility of bringing it to the people for them to truly understand how really, how much they need to really deal with the environment. But all the same, thank you for joining us on Dialogue on Viewpoint on the Atlantic.
Thank you very much. Please extend my warm regards to the management of Atlantic TV. You people are doing noble by sharing this platform with us free of charge.
Well, thank you so much. We always love to do our own civic responsibility. But anyway, like I said, it's always our responsibility to keep you updated, and that's why the news will come next, right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. Well, let's see if we'll go on the break, and when that comes, definitely you'll be getting more right here. But for me, Michael Gobadia, we'll see you next. Definitely, you know, trending is also coming. I'm making a good one. Well, anyway, the stories are trending, but sometimes it might be annoying. But Messi has all of that in the wrap. But let's go on the break, and the news will be next right here on Viewpoint.
In the glorious land of Warri Kingdom, history meets heritage and tradition embraces transformation. Join us in celebrating the 4th coronation anniversary of His Majesty Ogiame Atuashe III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, from Monday 18th of August to Sunday 24th of August 2025. Day 1 kicks off with praise and worship at the Palace Church, Agofen, Warri by 12 noon. Day 2 features hospital commissioning at Ugbangwe, Warri, 10 a.m. Ishekiri language competition for children at Agofen, Warri, 12 noon. Women's football match, 4 p.m. All-Stars football match at the Palace Field, 4:30 p.m. Day 3, a royal boat ride to Ode Ishekiri, 10 a.m. Homage paying at Big Warri Palace, 12 noon. His Majesty departs Big Warri, 3 p.m. Day 4, the anniversary celebration and homage paying at Agofen, Warri by 11 a.m. Day 5 brings book launch, 10:30 a.m. More homage paying at Agofen, 11:30 a.m. Drama presentations at Agofen, Warri, 4:30 p.m. Day 6 features the Royal Order of Iwere Awards, 10 a.m. Special lecture at Agofen, 11 a.m. Youth activities, 12:30 p.m. Royal Choir performance, 5 p.m. Day 7, the celebration concludes with a heartfelt Thanksgiving service at 10 a.m. at the Palace Church, Agofen, Warri. Join us as we honor 4 impactful years of visionary leadership. Brought to you by Uge Oyo Ekoro TV.
Mommy Dama, Daddy Daba. This is how we greet in our place. It is a way of respect, a long-age tradition, carried through generations like sacred fire. Our coronation celebration is around the corner, so close. We can feel the drum beats in the wind, and there is no more time to keep checking time. So the sons and daughters of Iwere, both at home and in diaspora, comfort, put on the full regalia, adore yourself in pride, and walk in the step of our ancestors. Let us observe a longish culture together, so deep, so bright, that even whitest could not help but reverence. And Edidioka, then Barajo, do not say we did not know, we did not hear, neither were we informed. Put aside the grieving, because no matter what, we are same. Same history, same tongues, that cannot be taken away, except that towards path. Ishekiri and Kuro, our monarch awaits us.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright guys, back again, yes boss, my name is Osh Baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up people, it's your boy Victor Edi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow, I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different. Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different. Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined, uniquely different. Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Ruth Gender Foundation.
I'm Ruth Edema Collins. I hold a first degree in physics electronics, a postgraduate qualification in business administration, and a nationally certified French language tutor. Career-wise, I'm an educational facilitator. I'm the managing director at Atlantic Media and TV, and I'm also a director at Rocotech Integrated Services Nigeria Limited. I'm a wife and a mother, and I like dressing up to show up. Yeah, so that's basically me. Thank you. Root Gender Foundation was inspired from my personal experiences growing up as a young girl in a typical Nigerian environment. For me, it was being different. It made people bully me, abuse me, and harass me. I was always misunderstood and underrated. Root Gender is a foundation that is dedicated to building confidence in the Nigerian girl child through educational and inspirational programs, like supporting programs that promote girl child education. We also organize physical exercises for our young girls for the overall well-being of their mental and physical states, and also for the acquisition of self-defense skills. We also sensitize girls on laws that protect them. In our constitution, a lot of girls do not know that they have rights, that there are laws that protect their interests in Nigeria. Hence, they are vulnerable, they are living in fear, which is stopping them from reaching their full potentials. So we sensitize them on the laws that protect their interests. This, like I said, is visioned towards building confidence in the Nigerian girl child. So that is just a wrap up of what we do at Root Gender Foundation. I would say I resonate with the struggles and the challenges of the girl child, particularly the Warri girl child. I happen to grow up in the heart of Warri. I'm from an average background. My family is an average one, but I experienced a lot. Like I said, I was bullied, I was overlooked, I was harassed for being a different child, for daring to be different. And nobody was taking note and tapping into my potentials. So my interest for the girl child is I would love to be a voice for the girl child. They need people to believe in them. They need people to speak for them. I also want the Warri girl child to know that there is hope beyond the reef. I want them to see the bigger picture. I want them to know that they can compete on global platforms. They can compete on international platforms, and they can do very well. We have the likes of Ada Gold, or Maumi, and the rest of them. They are all competing very well on international platforms, and I know that you too can do that, and I want you to know that is why we are here. Root Gender Foundation is here to make you understand that you can actually be what you want to be. As part of our objectives at Root Gender Foundation, we are dedicated to promoting girl-child education. Like I said, I represent the brand Warri Girl Child. I represent the brand the African Girl Child, because I have gone through the struggles from there to here. So giving 2 million to the best female participants is just a way to share them on. It's just a way to make them know that we believe in you. I believe in you. You can look up to us. We are sharing you on. It is not about the money. We believe in your potential. We want our girls to know that you are doing the right thing at the right time. You are in the right place, and this is what you should be doing. That's why we are supporting you, and we will always be here to support you. Girl-child empowerment to me is enforcing laws that protect our girl child. You know, my NGO, we've been pursuing a bill that we will see to be passed. We are asking that our girls should be allowed to carry pepper spray as weapons of self-defense. Because if you look at it, our women have nothing to protect themselves. They are just there by the grace of God. So we are pursuing laws that will protect the girl child. So empowerment, girl child empowerment to me is enforcing laws that protect the girl child, educating the girl child on time and money management, financial literacy, and equipping them with self-defense skills. Also, access to quality education. This to me is girl child empowerment and nothing more. A girl child must possess effective communication skills. They should be able to communicate effectively. A girl child should be financially literate. She should know how to manage her finances, and she should also know how to manage her time. Yes. Also, most importantly, another skill is self-awareness. It's important for our girls to know who they are, to believe in themselves. That's the vision of our NGO, building confident girls that can achieve their full potentials in Nigeria. That is our NGO's vision. So yeah, those are some of the skills I believe that the girl child should possess. She needs role models. She needs people that have led that path and have made it. Our young girls need role models. That's why we have to do better. We have to do the work. We have to bridge the gap. We have to share them on like we are doing. You can achieve your dreams. First, you have to make education your best friend. Every effort you put into learning will always be there for you to never fail you. Boys will break your heart, people will break your heart, but every effort you put towards learning anything, everything will always come through for you. So for you to achieve your dreams, look towards the right people, look towards the right direction. There are people that have achieved in that route. I will encourage you to look up to them, learn from them. That is just the way to achieve your dreams. My message to the Warri Child, like I said, I represent the brand Warri Girl Child. We are letting the world know that we are not vile, we are not roused, we are educated, we compete intellectually, we have good things ahead of us. We can do it on the global platform, we can do it on the national platform, and we are everything there is to be a woman. I would encourage you, Warri Girl Child, make education your best friend. Make education your best friend. Learn new things. Learn new languages, okay? And the sky will be your starting point. We are always here to share you up. Don't forget that my name is Ruth Edema Collins from Root Gender Foundation, and from all of us wishing you the best, we say keep watching Atlantic TV.
Ruth Gender Foundation.
Ara lóríire, ọlọ́ríire ọ̀fọ̀ máa sí olúromi o, ọ̀wẹ́ náà gé.
Mommy Dama, Daddy Daba. This is how we greet in our place. It is a way of respect, a long age tradition, carried through generations like sacred fire. Our coronation celebration is around the corner, so close, we can feel the drum beats in the wind, and there is no more time to keep checking time. So the sons and daughters of Iwere, both at home and in diaspora, comfort, put on the full regalia, adore yourself in pride, and walk in the step of our ancestors. Let us observe a longish culture together, so deep, so bright, that even whitest could not help but reverence. And I did the oka. Then Barajo, do not say we did not know, we did not hear, neither were we informed. Put aside the grieving, because no matter what, we are same. Same history, same tongues that cannot be taken away, except that towards path. Ishekiri and Kuro, our monarch awaits us.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined, uniquely different.
Congratulations, you're in the glory of God. Congratulations, He has done it for you. And you will come back with a new song to sing. God is good. Yes, you will come again with a new song of praise. God is good. Oh, congratulations. 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 See what the Lord has done for you.
For God sought man to incarnate and to lead his people, and he found none but thee, the one who understands the assignment. To the extent the dexterity you deploy to administer the territory attracted principalities and powers, yet you warned by Isaiah 7:7. The traditional king that forfeit godly scriptures. Your ways are not the ways of man, even as you exist as man. The one who takes giant steps in David's raiment. You are the clear proof we had first-hand connection with civilization. Daddy with maximum steez and composure. We do not need to pat your back and scoop your tummy before you do us good. Because truly you have now made goodness our inheritance. And everybody give thanks. You may have been ignored, left alone to tend the flocks, but I tell you truth, it was God's strategy for you to cater for his flocks. Oh, how did we not know at first that a change we seek and desire lurks around us like a friend that sticks closer than a brother. He who resonates history before our face, giving us the hope of a prosperous phase. It is time. 4 years crowned in glory, 4 years seed in destiny. Ogiame, King of the waters. It is your 4th-year coronation anniversary, and everybody is Ogboru.
Atlantic TV. culturally inclined, and uniquely different.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh Baby.
CME Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, not just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Ara lóríire, ọlọ́ríire ọ̀fọ̀ máa sí olúromi o, ọ̀wẹ́ náà ògì.
Mommy Dama, Daddy Daba. This is how we greet in our place. It is a way of respect, a long age tradition, carried through generations like sacred fire. Our coronation celebration is around the corner, so close, we can feel the drum beats in the wind, and there is no more time to keep checking time. So the sons and daughters of Iwere, both at home and in diaspora, comfort, put on the full regalia, adore yourself in pride, and walk in the step of our ancestors. Let us observe a longish culture together, so deep, so bright, that even whitest could not help but reverence. And I did the oka. Then Barajo, do not say we did not know, we did not hear, neither were we informed. Put aside the grieving, because no matter what, we are same. Same history, same tongues that cannot be taken away, except that towards path. Ishekiri and Kuro, our monarch awaits us.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
In the glorious land of Warri Kingdom, history meets heritage and tradition embraces transformation. Join us in celebrating the 4th coronation anniversary of His Majesty Ogiame Atuashe III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, from Monday 18th of August to Sunday 24th of August 2025. Day 1 kicks off with praise and worship at the Palace Church, Agofen, Warri by 12 noon. Day 2 features hospital commissioning at Ubangwe, Warri, 10 a.m. Ishekiri language competition for children at Agofen, Warri, 12 noon. Women's football match, 4 p.m. All-Stars football match at the Palace Field, 4:30 p.m. Day 3, a royal boat ride to Ode Ishekiri, 10 a.m. Homage paying at Big Warri Palace, 12 noon. His Majesty departs Big Warri, 3 p.m. Day 4, the anniversary celebration and homage paying at Agofen, Warri by 11 a.m. Day 5 brings book launch, 10:30 a.m. More homage paying at Agofen, 11:30 a.m. Drama presentations at Agofen, Warri, 4:30 p.m. Day 6 features the Royal Order of Iwere Awards, 10 a.m. Special lecture at Agofen, 11 a.m. Youth activities, 12:30 p.m. Royal Choir performance, 5 p.m. Day 7, the celebration concludes with a heartfelt Thanksgiving service at 10 a.m. at the Palace Church, Agofen, Warri. Join us as we honor 4 impactful years of visionary leadership. Brought to you by Uge Oyo Ekoro TV.
Ara lóríire, olóríire ọ̀fọ̀ máa sí olúromi o, ọ̀wẹ́ náà ògìe.
Mommy Dama, Daddy Daba. This is how we greet in our place. It is a way of respect, a long-age tradition, carried through generations like sacred fire. Our coronation celebration is around the corner, so close, we can feel the drum beats in the wind, and there is no more time to keep checking time. So the sons and daughters of Iwere, both at home and in diaspora, comfort, put on the full regalia, adore yourself in pride, and walk in the step of our ancestors. Let us observe a longish culture together, so deep, so bright, that even whitest could not help but reverence. And I did the oka. Then Barajo, do not say we did not know, we did not hear, neither were we informed. Put aside the grieving, because no matter what, we are same history, same tongues, that cannot be taken away except that door's path. Ishekiri and Kuro, our monarch awaits us.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Hello, good day, and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I am Nkechi Tejere. Here are our top stories. Olu of Warri's 4th coronation anniversary, day 4, highlights tradition, royalty, and homage paying. Opposition divisions may hand Tinubu easy ride to 2027 victory. Warri waters come alive as Olu of Warri marks coronation anniversary, day 3, with boat regatta. Nigeria's 341 trillion naira oil reserves trapped in undeveloped fields. AC Milan close in on Victor Boniface loan deal. Now to the news in full. In Warri, Delta State, the 4th coronation anniversary of His Majesty Ogiami Atuwache III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, continued today with a blend of tradition and celebration. As early as dawn, the Oton Olu's royal princes and princesses performed the age-old ritual of waking the Olu, symbolizing continuity of lineage and the renewal of sovereignty. Later in the day, dignitaries, traditional rulers, captains of industries and subjects will gather at the palace grounds, Agofen, Warri, for the homage-paying ceremony. The event will feature cultural performances, traditional greetings, and symbolic presentations, all showcasing the rich Ishekiri heritage. The week-long celebrations will continue with more lined-up events highlighting tradition, culture, and royal excellence. As Nigeria heads towards the 2027 general elections, deep cracks within the opposition could play directly into President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's hands. The ruling APC, led by Tinubu, is expected to leverage the power of incumbency, with the main opposition parties appear weakened by internal wrangling. The PDP is battling factional disputes, the Labour Party is struggling to consolidate its new national appeal, and the ADC is caught in power tussles within its coalition. Political observers warn that unless the opposition unites behind a single credible candidate, history may repeat itself. In 2023, a split opposition vote paved the way for Tinubu's emergence as Nigeria's 16th president. Analysts believe a similar pattern could make 2027 a foregone conclusion. With Tinubu's political mastery and the APC's incumbency advantage, analysts caution that division in the opposition may not only weaken democracy, but also secure Tinubu's return with little resistance. The clerk of the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlana, has called for a distinct salary structure and stronger job security for legislative aides working with federal lawmakers. Speaking in Abuja at a 3-day capacity building training for aides, Ogunlana said the demand has become necessary to tackle the peculiar financial and structural challenges they face. The training was organized by the National Assembly in collaboration with Research Enterprise Systems. He argued that legislative aides play a critical role in the functioning of the 469 lawmakers across both chambers. Welfare and stability remain neglected. Ogunlana stressed that without improved salaries and job security, the quality of legislative support and productivity in the National Assembly undermined. The clerk urged policymakers to act swiftly, noting that strengthening the welfare of aides is vital to the efficiency of Nigeria's legislative process. The People's Democratic Party has strongly condemned the proposal by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to increase the salaries of political office holders. Speaking in Abuja, PDP Deputy National Youth Leader Timothy Osadolo described the move as highly insensitive, pointing to rising inflation, the collapse of the naira, and the unbearable cost of living facing ordinary Nigerians. He argued that while the recently approved minimum wage of 70,000 naira barely covers the cost of staple foods like rice, the political class is considering more money for themselves. According to him, this shows a clear disconnect between leaders and citizens struggling to survive. Osadolaw insisted that at a time of economic crisis, governments should be cutting costs, reducing overheads and easing hardship, not raising salaries for political elites. He warned that ignoring the people's suffering could deepen public frustration. You're watching our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. We'll go for a short break. More news stories when we return.
For God sought man to incarnate and to lead his people, and he found none but thee, the one who understands the assignment. To the extent the dexterity you deploy to administer the territory attracted principalities and powers, yet you warned by Isaiah 7:7. The traditional king that forfeit godly scriptures. Your ways are not the ways of man, even as we exist as man. The one who takes giant steps in David's raiment. You are the clear proof we had first-hand connection with civilization. Daddy with maximum steeze and composure. We do not need to pat your back and scoop your tummy before you do us good. Because truly you have now made goodness our inheritance. And everybody give thanks. You may have been ignored, left alone to tend the flocks. But I tell you truth, it was God's strategy for you to cater for his flocks. Oh, how did we not know at first that a change was seek and desire? Lurks around us like a friend that seeks closer than a brother. He who resonates history before our face, giving us the hope of a prosperous phase. It is time. 4 years crowned in glory, 4 years seed in destiny. Ogiame, King of the waters. It is your 4th-year coronation anniversary, and everybody is Ogboru.
Welcome back. The grandeur of the Warri Kingdom's rich cultural heritage took center stage yesterday as the coronation anniversary boat regatta of His Majesty Ogiame Atuwache III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, was held in spectacular fashion. The highlight of the regatta was the symbolic red boat leading what locals proudly call the Warri Armada. Historically, the Ogbolokposo community sails ahead, performing both reconnaissance and spiritual duties to guide the red boat. This tradition which amazed Portuguese explorers in the 15th century, continues to this day, with each monarch of Warri preserving the cultural legacy. The 21st Olu of Warri is now given this ancient spectacle global recognition as the regatta sailed from the ancestral Ode Ishekiri, also known as Big Warri, the very cradle of the kingdom that spread into present-day Delta and Edo states as far back as 1480. The coronation anniversary boat regatta was not just a cultural display, but also a reaffirmation of the kingdom's history, unity, and pride as the Warri waters once again came alive with rhythm, color, and spiritual symbolism. Delta State Police Command has announced major breakthroughs in its fight against notorious kidnap gangs terrorizing the state. Commissioner of Police Olufemi Aboniwanda says the command, in collaboration with the Nigerian Army, has neutralized several suspects, recovered weapons, and seized ransom money from the criminals. For months, residents of Buluku, Ogwashiku, Isele Asagba, Abraka, and Sapele have lived in fear of kidnappers operating across Delta's 3 senatorial districts. These gangs, made up of both locals and outsiders, recruit and intimidate young boys into crime, often hiding in remote forests and armed with sophisticated weapons. In April, police operatives arrested the top kingpin Abubakar Usman, also known as Shehu, who later died after a gun battle. He confessed to several kidnappings and killings, including the abduction of a medical doctor. On July 30th, a joint operation by the police Special Anti-Kidnapping and Cybercrime Squad and the Nigerian Army stormed a hideout in Ogwashiku Forest. 2 kidnappers were killed, while officers recovered an AK-47 rifle, 39 rounds of ammunition, and 3.5 million naira ransom money. In Ibuza, another suspect, Chia DG, was arrested with weapons, alongside his accomplice, Andrew, who had 2 pump-action guns. Meanwhile, in Sapele Ogara, a syndicate was dismantled and a herbalist linked to the gang was arrested. The Commissioner of Police confirmed that more than 5.7 million naira in ransom money has been recovered, along with several firearms. He assured residents that security has been reinforced, especially ahead of the festive season. The Army Brigade Special Commander, Brigadier General M.A. Shonibare, also noted a sharp decline in kidnapping and cult-related crimes, warning that Delta State is no longer a haven for criminals. The Delta State government has signed a landmark memorandum of understanding with the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, to attract $158 million in renewable energy investments. The deal, sealed at a roundtable in Abuja, will deliver electricity to over 386,000 residents through more than 120,000 new off-grid connections, boosting Delta's GDP and bridging decades of power deficits. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori said the partnership aligns with his administration's more agenda, adding that energy access will drive productivity, healthcare, education, and rural transformation across the state. The agreement is also expected to unlock opportunities for industrial growth and inclusive development, with ongoing projects like the 8.5 megawatt independent power plant in Nasaba already underway to power key government institutions. The governor reassured investors of a friendly business climate and pledged to remove bureaucratic bottlenecks to accelerate project delivery. Delta State, where more than 60% of communities remain off-grid, is positioning itself as a hub for renewable energy solutions in Nigeria. In Anambra State, the Anambra State government has dismissed 8 operatives of the Agone Chamber security outfit over the brutal assault and public stripping of a female corps member, Jennifer Elobo. Special Advisor on Community Security, Ken Emiakai, announced the decision at the agency's headquarters in Awka, describing the act as utterly condemnable and outside the outfit's mandate. The dismissed vigilantes have been handed over to the police for prosecution, as Governor Soludo's administration insists on full accountability despite pleas for quiet resolution. The state government has also settled the victims' medical bills, replaced her damaged valuables, and issued a public apology to her family, the NYSC, and the general public. Officials say the move sends a strong message that such abuses will not be tolerated, while reinforcing the state's commitment to protecting residents and visitors alike. You're watching the Daily News Roundup on Atlantic TV. We'll go for yet another break. More news stories when we return.
My name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is baby.
CME Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl Ninyola.
My name is my wife and just celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Welcome back. Now to some business stories. A new report by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has revealed that more than 3.5 billion barrels of oil and condensate remain trapped in undeveloped fields across the country's basins. At an average price of $65 per barrel, the reserves are valued at $227.5 billion. That's about 341 trillion naira, over 600% of Nigeria's 2025 budget. Experts warn that the unexploited resources could have transformed critical infrastructure. The funds are enough to build over 2 million health centers, 5 million classroom blocks, and more than 400,000 kilometers of roads. Meanwhile, Nigeria's debt profile continues to worsen. The Debt Management Office says total public debt hit 147.39 trillion naira as of March 2025, a 22% rise from the previous year, largely driven by fresh borrowings and naira depreciation. Analysts say the failure to develop oil reserves is fueling Nigeria's heavy dependence on borrowing, while the country still struggles to meet domestic fuel needs amid refinery shortages. The Group Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Engineer Bayo Ojulari, says Nigeria's crude oil production has yet to match its vast reserves and stressed the need to change the narrative. Speaking at the 4th Pengassin Energy and Labour Summit in Abuja, Ojulari revealed that NNPCL is pursuing field development, tackling insecurity in the Niger Delta, and unlocking stranded assets to boost output. He maintained that resilience in the sector is not optional but a national responsibility. Also at the summit, the president of Pengassin, Comrade Festus Osifo, called for safer working conditions in the oil and gas industry. He warned operators to end gas flaring and pollution, insisting that workers deserve a safe environment to deliver effectively. The summit, which gathered key stakeholders across government, industry, and labor, explored how Nigeria can build a resilient oil and gas sector in the face of global energy transition and security concerns. Away from business now to some foreign stories. Asian stock markets closed mixed on Wednesday, rattled by a sharp plunge in Japanese exports and cautious anticipation of possible U.S. interest rate cuts. Tokyo led the decline, finishing the day down 1.5%, with Seoul and Taipei also slipping. But Hong Kong, Shanghai, Sydney, and Jakarta and Bangkok posted gains, while Manila ended flat. The market swings come as global investors watch diplomatic moves to end the war in Ukraine, following U.S. President Donald Trump's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's stock exchange reported record half-year revenue, buoyed by a wave of new listings and trading activity at the Chinese financial hub. Analysts say the next big signal will come from Washington, where policymakers are weighing rate cuts that could reshape global capital flows. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country has work to do in regaining support from young people in the West, as recent polls show collapsing approval ratings. On a UK-based podcast, Netanyahu admitted that protests against Israel's action in Gaza are attracting large numbers of Gen Zs, with a Gallup poll showing only 6% of young Americans hold a favorable opinion of him, and just 9% approve of Israel's military offensive. Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister has approved a new plan for the conquest of Gaza City and authorized the mobilization of 60,000 reservists, intensifying pressure on Hamas. The conflict has claimed more than 62,000 Palestinian lives, mostly civilians, according to health officials in Gaza. Netanyahu insisted opposition among Gen Z is part of a wider campaign against Israel and the West, even as global mediators continue to push for a ceasefire. Away from the foreign stories now, let's move to sports. AC Milan are in advanced talks with Bayern Leverkusen for the loan signing of Nigerian striker Victor Boniface, with an option to buy. Reports say Boniface has already agreed to Milan's contract terms, and both clubs are optimistic of sealing the deal soon. Former Lazio sporting director Igli Tare is said to be playing a key role in negotiations. Boniface, who was instrumental for Leverkusen last season, is awaiting final approval to complete the move. Meanwhile, new coach Erik ten Hag is reportedly backing Patrick Schick to lead the attack, making Boniface's exit more likely. If successful, the move would see Boniface join Serie A giants Milan, giving him the chance to shine in Italy's top flights. Newcastle United legend Alan Shearer has accused striker Alexander Isak of foiling tensions with the club after sweet claimed promises were broken over his future. Isak, who finished last season as the Premier League's second highest scorer, has refused to play in pre-season and missed the Magpies' opening goalless draw against Aston Villa. Liverpool have reportedly had a £110 million bid rejected, with Newcastle demanding up to £150 million. In a statement, Isak said trust with the club had collapsed, insisting broken promises made it impossible for him to continue. But Shearer hit back, calling the saga an absolute mess and accusing Isak's agent of mishandling the striker's career. The row has left Newcastle's fans divided, with uncertainty now looming over whether their star forward will remain at St. James Park this season. And with that sports news, we come to the end of our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nkechi Tejere. Have a good day.
He
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different. Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
In the glorious land of Ori Kingdom, history meets heritage and tradition embraces transformation. Join us in celebrating the 4th coronation anniversary of His Majesty Ogiame Atuashe III, CFR, the Olu of Warri, from Monday 18th of August to Sunday 24th of August 2025. Day 1 kicks off with praise and worship at the Palace Church, Agofen Warri by 12 noon. Day 2 features hospital commissioning at Ubangwe Warri 10 a.m. Ishekiri language competition for children at Agofen Warri 12 noon. Women's football match 4 p.m. All-Stars football match at the Palace Field 4:30 p.m. Day 3, a royal boat ride to Ode Ishekiri 10 a.m. Homage paying at Big Warri Palace 12 noon. His Majesty departs Big Warri 3 p.m. Day 4, the anniversary celebration and homage paying at Agofen Warri by 11 a.m. Day 5 brings book launch 10:30 a.m. More homage paying at Agofen 11:30 a.m. Drama presentations at Agofen Warri 4:30 p.m. Day 6 features the Royal Order of Iwere Awards 10 a.m. Special lecture at Agofen 11 a.m. Youth activities 12:30 p.m. Royal Choir performance 5 p.m. Day 7, the celebration concludes with a heartfelt Thanksgiving service at 10 a.m. at the Palace Church, Agofen Warri. Join us as we honor 4 impactful years of visionary leadership. Brought to you by Uge Oyo Ekoro TV.
Ìyára lóríire, olóríire àfọ̀másì, olúrọ̀mí o, ọba mi òkè. Ìyára lóríire, olóríire àfọ̀másì, olúrọ̀mí o, ọba mi òkè. Ìràwọ̀ bàbá mi jẹ́ orí gbẹ̀jì wẹ̀rẹ̀, ìràwọ̀ èsì gbà mí jẹ́ orí wàrà gbòòrò.
Welcome back. If you are just joining, welcome to Trendy. This is where we talk about all the trendy stories on the internet and of course give our views about them. And I am Mercy Erabo. I am not alone in the studio. I've got with me, Michael Gobadia. And without wasting much time, let's just dive straight into it. So as usual, you know how I love taking my stroll. And I saw this write-up somewhere saying DNA should be made mandatory before the issuance of birth certificates. And who said this? Human rights activist and lawyer Deji Adeyanju. So he said we should make DNA compulsory, and then netizens are not finding it funny, especially the women. I don't know why. Women, what's your issue with DNA? I don't know. Let's see if Mr. Michael
knows
the issue.
Well, he's not far from the truth, especially as it concerns men. And in most recent time, we've had cases of severe attack coming from men on women, especially when they end up finding out that the DNA results of the children that they've been called their own is not theirs. It's really sad one. I could still remember one that happened a couple of years, 3 years back, especially in Edo State. It was something else. The lucky thing about it that people were around in the compound when it happened. Wow. Honestly, the man almost killed the woman. But I feel it's about time, especially with these issues of paternity and fraud. Fraud that many women perpetrate. And well, it goes to show that, well, it's not only men that cheat. Women do cheat.
So some persons are saying that there should be penalty on paternity fraud.
Yeah.
Do you think so? They should make it like it should be a crime.
Yeah, it should. I feel it's becoming too frequent.
Okay.
And I do not just feel it's becoming too frequent. It's becoming really annoying.
Okay.
Especially, it's not just concerning the man alone. It's a painful thing when after 10 years, a child has been calling a man his father, only to discover that, well, they are not even related.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. And I feel the only way that can be really resolved, if there's a constitution on that, if our National Assembly can enact a law, that would truly help to see if they can curb that, I'll call it social vices, because it's really on the high side and it's quite damaging.
But the truth is, DNA is not cheap. Don't you think they should actually make this affordable before making it mandatory?
Well, anyway, the women will still cry foul. So whether it's cheap or not.
And then some person said they should actually provide something like a kit, just like the pregnancy test strip that you can just go into the pharmacy to get. They should actually provide something like a DNA test strip that you just go into the pharmacy.
They will find a way of subverting it, and at the end, it will still carry his name.
All right, let's not dwell too much on this. Let's quickly go into the second story. Breaking news. Federal government of Nigeria shut down over 13 million social media accounts for offensive content and violations of the code of conduct of practice by social media users. That's a lot, 13 million users.
Funny enough, these number arose after complaints were sent to the commission on account of posts that were made by Nigerians. And not only that, you know, we're in a social space, and a country has its own law, and most of those violations were content perceived by the commission to not only be attacking persons, but some persons feel also it was discriminatory, maybe against the tribe, against the state itself. And so those numbers were really deactivated. 13 million is a large one. I only pity the telecom companies that have these persons glued to them, because, you know, constant buying of data and now having these 13 million accounts being blocked. Wow, it's a huge number.
Even if reports from the National Information Technology Development Agency, the NITDA, claims that it targets obscenity and harmful posts, harmful content. But netizens are not finding this funny. They actually said that this could be targeted at criticism of the government. Do you think so, Michael?
Well, I said it initially, yeah. When many persons feel that it's more like target of the state, and it will always be perceived like that. But this still brings us back to the issue of freedom of speech.
Exactly.
This will in every way rode in on the issue of freedom of speech, and many Nigerians are really not finding it funny. But, well, it's law. The federal government has major rights in deactivation of these lines, and I feel that's what the agency had to do.
Okay, let's not dwell too much on that. Let's quickly go into our third story for the day. There's this disturbing footage. I don't know if you saw it, a CCTV footage making rounds on the internet, and that shows a maid urinating in a plate. Disgusting, in a kitchen. And I think they said this is not, it's not even the first time, like it's just like a usual occurrence. And it brings us to the big question of, should we still trust maids at this point? Wow. What do you think, Mr. Michael?
Well, anyway, since I saw that video, I've been watching what I'm eating. But thank God I don't have a maid at home, though. But honestly, Since I saw it, I doubt if I could still swallow it because that rubber was for soup. And it's really disgusting. It shows how really dirty some maids are. And then we're talking about them, but you know, it still brings us back. I don't want to sound as if I'm attacking the women these days. I don't understand why a man will be married to a woman. You don't have many children, you still buy the washing machine, you provide it for her, you provide her with microwave, and yes, she wants a maid.
What if she works the same way you work? So who would look after the kids at home? Because this could actually be a nanny taking care of the kids.
Okay, we thank God that the maid didn't feed them with that urine. So at the end, who will suffer?
All right, the truth is, I'm still trying to think what could be the cause of that? Is it some form of spiritual attack? Yeah. Or the girl is just dirty? Or she just feel like, yes, lazy. Maybe just she could not just leave the kitchen at that point and go to the toilet to ease herself, and she just feels like, let me just do it the easiest way.
And that's why sometimes if you check most of this soup, it's a bit too salty or...
Oh, really? So
don't mind me. I didn't say that.
So you mean it's like a mixture of urine and soup?
I know some men after
Mr.
that
Michael
video
said that though.
I know some men after that video would really want maids to still be in their house.
Okay, that's fine. In as much as this is not supposed to be funny, but you know we have to lighten the whole mood.
Yeah, we do.
All right, let's go. I saw yesterday that Nnamdi Azikiwe University bans final year students signing off celebrations. Well, somehow I think I am supporting this. Yeah. I think I have to because it's becoming too much. Like something that's meant to be celebrations, at the end of the day, it becomes violence and all of that. I think I am actually siding this. I'm siding the Nnamdi Azikiwe registrar that came out to say that this has to be banned indefinitely and effective immediately. What do you think? Do you support them on this?
I do. This is the only one I'll be with you on the same page. And honestly, yes, I feel it's about time. Most of these celebrations have become violent, have become expensive, and put unnecessary pressure on these celebrants, especially those in the final year.
Yeah.
You even see people with third class celebrating, and you wonder what they are celebrating for. Knowing that even in the labor market, those with even first class upper hardly have jobs, and they are just celebrating and wasting more money rather than investing that money in the future after.
You're even going too far talking about third class. Do you know some persons after those gyrations, celebrations, and all of that, they will still go back to writing carryovers. They might still end up with extension. So what's with the whole celebration? When you know deep down that you're coming back to write exams, what's with the whole celebration? So I think let's just keep doing our convocation in peace and the signing off. Yeah. It's not so necessary. It tends to put much pressure on people. Pressure. Exactly. You see people trying to save up to get themselves, and you know, some even try to pay for convoy for signing off.
Unnecessary spending.
Unnecessary spending. So I think I am siding them on this one, and I really love them for this. In as much as some persons might not find this funny, but it is what it is.
And let them not feel because we've done our own celebration. That's why we don't want them to. No, but honestly, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, in Ekoma, that was about 3 years ago. Yeah. One of the girls celebrating, she was at the top of, is it a car roof or what they call it? She was there gyrating and all of that, and she fell off and died at the spot. Wow. So can you imagine what was meant to be celebration turned into mourning? So I feel it's best they just ban it. I think it's a good decision. Yeah. Okay, let's go into our final story for today. And Naira Marley finally broke the silence on the Mohbad's issue. He finally spoke his mind, but we all know that this is a developing issue. We need to keep emotions aside in order not to cloud our judgments with emotions. So, and investigations are still ongoing, of course. So just know that we will update you when we get more updates on this Mohbad issue. For now, it's a wrap. And you know, today is the main celebration day of the 4th coronation anniversary. So it's party after party in the palace, and we have to go. We have to get dressed and go to the palace. So you don't want to go anywhere because we are streaming the palace activities live on Atlantic Media and TV, and you know how to engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, even on TikTok at Atlantic Media and TV. So this is Mercy Irabo saying goodbye from the studio, goodbye from Viewpoint. See you same time tomorrow.
Olóríire àfọ̀másì olúrọ̀mí o, ọba mi o.